Listen, today is day 8 of this Diddy trial, and we gonna get into it. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Andrea Banu, and I'm going to get right into it. So today is day 8 of Diddy's trial. As you know, I've been covering it since day 1, and it has been crazy, okay? And so now today we did have 3 more people on the stand. We had a Homeland Security agent who pretty much carried over from yesterday, as well as a psychologist, a forensic psychologist, who she came on the stand and she spoke about, the complexities of being in domestic abuse violence, and gave some context with regards to why Miss Cassie may have stayed for so long and things of that nature. And then lastly, which was the juiciest part of today, is that an former assistant of Diddy's came on the stand today. Now, apparently this was somebody who was originally not supposed to testify, and the prosecution gave this man immunity right before he testified. I mean, literally just reading the transcripts. Of course, I wasn't there particularly, specifically. However, reading the transcripts, it did appear that the judge signed off and the defense agreed that this gentleman would get immunity. So he didn't want to perjure himself, and he didn't want to be held accountable for a lot of the things that he did while working for Diddy. He testified today. So we are going to get into it. And so, like I usually do, I read the transcripts, but I did some more digging, did some more research, and found some extra little tidbits that we're going to share today. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are with the transcripts from earlier today. Okay, so this is going to be, you know what? I'm going to start with the assistant because that is the meatiest of the material. No pun intended. Okay. So if you want to go back and hear about, the testimony from the forensic psychologist, you are more than welcome to do it. She, again, just spoke a lot about, the complexities of being in abusive relationships. She spoke a lot about love bonding and how you can control people with finances, things of that nature. Her testimony was just good to substantiate the reasons why Cassie may have stayed for so long and endured the abuse she received. However, this last witness was the one you really got to hear. Okay, so we are definitely going to get into his testimony right now. Okay. Oh, yes, that's another thing. Every time I get on here, I start scrolling through the pages, I forget. Okay, yes. So again, Homeland Security, when he left yesterday, he talked about, finding guns and things of that nature, a whole bunch of Astroglide, baby oil, because for whatever reason, that Diddy is obsessed with baby oil. I don't know what his obsession is with baby oil, but he got to have lots of it at all times. It's crazy. Okay. So he said, it was like a million, okay, like millions and millions of bottles of baby oil. But aside from that, drugs. I mean, so many ridiculous amounts of illegal substances. It's crazy. It is insane. Okay. He said that they found bottles. They found like a box, and they found baggies. They just found all kind of crap. Okay, they had dollar bills rolled up with residue of cocaine. They found straws with residues of cocaine, ketamine. They found baggies with this in it, baggies with that in it. They found pills, every kind of pill you can name. Diddy had it at his house. I mean, it was a full on street pharmacy at his crib. Okay, it was crazy. They found all that. And so the thing about it is, I'm still, even in day 8, seeing people say Diddy is gonna walk free. Diddy not doing no time. Listen. Let me just ask you in the audience, who do you know? Okay, answer me this, riddle me this. Who do you know where the feds come in, Homeland Security come into their house, find every single illegal substance known to man in their crib, and they don't do no time? I want you to tell me who that happened to. I want you to tell me who you know personally can have Homeland Security go into their multi-million-dollar mansion, find every single kind of illegal drug known to man in their crib, and they don't do no time. I'll wait. I'm going to read the comments and see what you say. Okay. But nonetheless, Even like I said, even if this prosecution does not get him on trafficking or RICO, it's going to end up going to the state, and the state going to charge this man. They're going to have to charge this man with the sex crimes that were committed by purchasing these workers, as well as all of these drugs that this man had at his property in New York, at his property in Miami. And even when they went to the hotel and arrested him, he had illegal substances in his hotel room. Everywhere he lives, everywhere he goes, this man has illegal substances on him. Now, you know, if you get pulled over tonight and you got a roach on you, it's going to be a problem. So how you think Diddy, okay, Diddy Dirty Money is going to have all this craziness in all his houses, and even the day he was arrested by the feds, and he just gonna get a little slap on the wrist? Oh, it's okay, Diddy. It's okay, Diddy. It's okay. I don't see it. I don't see it. Listen, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that's a hard sell. Nonetheless, let's get back into this case. Okay, so yes, all kind of craziness. There you go. You see a picture. There is, you know, he got cases in his room. So he got a bottle of baby oil and a bottle. I'm sorry, not a bottle. He has bottles of baby oil and bottles of Astroglide. He got, like, it got to be stocked. It got to be stocked at all times. I mean, I think he owns stock in Johnson & Johnson baby oil. It's insane. Okay. And then you already saw the pictures of what they found in the bathroom. So this is just the supply I need next to my bed. It's a whole nother, like, truckload everywhere else in the house. It's insane. Okay, so he talked about all that. He talked about, they had, erotic toys, tons and tons and tons and tons of illegal substances and paraphernalia, yada, yada, yada. And so now we need to get into this assistant. So to me, in my opinion now, this is just my opinion, this is where they start to build the RICO part of this case. Okay, so here we are. Let's go. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is the forensic. Okay, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so this is going to be Bach, which is Diddy's defense attorney. And let's see here, Mr. Steele, no further questions. Next witness. Okay, here's prosecution. The government calls George Kaplan. So George Kaplan is a former assistant of Diddy. Let's go ahead and read this testimony. Okay. So it says, when did you work for Combs Enterprise? Kaplan, 2013 to 2015. Prosecution, what fell under the holdings company? Kaplan, clothing, liquor, entertainment. I was executive assistant to the chief operating officer. Let me see here. Can you see me? I don't even think y'all can read this. It's so tiny. I'm sorry. Let me do this to where you can actually see what's happening here. Let's see. Okay. I want you to be able to see my face because I know my reactions are crazy. So I'm just going to read this to you out loud. I know you can't read it because it's not big enough, but let me see if I can blow it up a little bit. Okay, we're going to do it like that. Let's see here. Okay, so here we are. Let's read it. That's a little bigger. Let's see if we can do it this way. Okay, let me read this. Now, hopefully I can do this because I'm blind. All right, here we go. Okay, we're going to start. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, when did you work for Combs Enterprise? 2013 to 2015. Okay, prosecution. What fell under the holding company? Kaplan, clothing, liquor, entertainment. I was executive assistant to the chief operating officer. Prosecution. Where did you work? Kaplan, 1710 Broadway, NYC. Okay. Prosecution. What was your next position? Kaplan, executive assistant to the chairman, Mr. Combs, from September of 2014 to September 2015. So it doesn't look like he worked for him long. Were the work conditions not up to par? We're going to get into it. Okay. Prosecution. Who did you report to? Kaplan, Miss Corin, KK. She essentially ran Mr. Combs' life. Prosecution. Where did you report? Kaplan, LA. Prosecution. What did you do? Kaplan carried his bags, made such things where he wanted them. As he trusted me, the more he trusted me, the more he had me around him. I'd set up hotel rooms. I'd set up hotel rooms. So, prosecution, how many hours a week did you work? Prosecution, 80 to 100 hours a week. Okay. Prosecution, how much did you get paid? Kaplan, 125,000 a year to start. Prosecution, what did you do in the morning? Kaplan, made sure everything was in the bathroom. The breakfast cooked. He was recording a mixtape, so we worked late. Prosecution, who was security? Kaplan, Uncle Paulie, D-Rock, and Ruben, later licensed security in the second half of 2015. Prosecution, how frequently did you communicate with Mr. Diddy? Kaplan, multiple times a day. Things could be found in the back, an iPad, drugs, whatever. Maybe he's saying things could be found in the bag. I don't know, because the court clerks sometimes get these things finagled because they be doing it so fast. So I'll continue. Prosecution, did he threaten you? Kaplan, he threatened my job. Prosecution, how often? Kaplan, monthly, maybe monthly. So monthly, he was being threatened with his job. He'd say he was only to be surrounded by the best people and that he wasn't. So if that's him saying, I only want to be surrounded by the best people because I'm not the best person, maybe that's what he's insinuating. For example, he wanted me he wanted me to get him a 1 liter bottle of water, and I brought back 2 half liters, and he said, no, that's not good enough. Prosecution, how did you travel? Kaplan, on his jet, or sometimes going in advance to make sure everything was all set up. Prosecution, how did you set up hotel rooms? Kaplan, there was a bag. I unpacked it. Clothes, candles, Astroglide, baby oil. You know how you feel about that baby oil. That is a lifeline for Diddy, okay? Prosecution, who bought this? Kaplan, often me. Prosecution, in what cities did you set up these hotel rooms? Kaplan, LA, New York, and Miami. In LA, Mr. C, Bel Air, the Intercontinental, and the Intercontinental. He's naming the hotels. Prosecution, in New York, Kaplan, Trump by Columbus Circle in Miami, the SLS. Prosecution, how was it booked? Kaplan, Frank Black, based on Biggie's Frank White. Prosecution, would you clean up rooms? Kaplan, yes. Bottles of baby oil, Gatorade, once brown crystallized powder on the counter of the bathroom sink. Prosecution, why did you clean up and not hotel staff? Excuse me. Kaplan, it was implied. Protect his public image. I was keen on doing that. So he's stating he was the cleanup crew. Okay. So he was the assistant. So he supplied everything for these freak offs in advance, and he came and cleaned up what he didn't want to be incriminating before the actual hotel cleaning crew came into the hotel. Yuck. No wonder he was only there for a year, because ill. Okay. Ill. So let me continue. Prosecution, explain. Combs, objection. Judge, overruled. Kaplan, I found hotels would sell photos to newspapers to shame guests. And so prosecution said, did he reach out to you from the room? Kaplan, yes, for food, clothes, sometimes drugs. I did it. Prosecution, what drugs? Kaplan, DOP kit. Okay. So the DOP kit is that LV bag that everybody's talking about that he kept all his stuff in. So that's another name for, those toiletry bags, DOP kit. Okay. So prosecution, illegal drugs. Combs's attorneys, we object to the term illegal. So she changed her questioning. Prosecution, what other drugs? Kaplan, Advil, ketamine. Prosecution, what he asked for. What did he ask for? Kaplan, I picked up drugs for him. MDMA. MDMA. Prosecution, who asked? Kaplan, Mr. Combs in LA and Miami. Kaplan, Um, in Miami, Mr. Combs asked me to call a person. He came and gave me a bag of pills, MDMA. I gave him cash. I gave him the pills. I gave the pills to Mr. Combs. Prosecution. And in LA, Kaplan. I went out and met the person in Hollywood. I gave money. He gave me a bag. So, and then after that, judge says, we'll break for the day. So I see they trying to break when it get real spicy. I don't think that's a coincidence. Now, the judge would probably say otherwise, but I don't think that is a coincidence at all. Okay, so I wanted to get into those juicy bits simply because, get this off my screen. Okay, I wanted to get into those juicy bits because, again, this is where I feel like they're setting up that RICO situation. So they're saying that this assistant, first of all, this assistant just got immunity. So he didn't want to be criminalized for anything that he did while working under Diddy. So that tells me that not only was he purchasing and transporting illegal substances on the behalf of Diddy, he may have been involved in some other things that he doesn't want to be criminalized for. And in order to testify today, the prosecution gave him immunity to testify against Diddy. The defense is in a pickle. Okay. And so that's first and foremost. Now he is also testifying that he supplied a lot of the freak off materials and the freak off starter set at these hotels. So he said there would be a bag there. He would undo the bag and make sure that the clothes were set out, the baby oil, all of the extra favors or party favors and things of that nature. The drugs, I didn't say drugs about 1,000 times, so I don't even know why I'm trying to hide it at this point. And so, yeah. And so he also said, like mentioned, that he had to come in and clean up. So I remember in later testimony that they said, I think it was one of the escorts said that he would come in there and they would have sheets all over the furniture. So as nasty as they was getting, it was stuff and nasty bodily fluids all over the place, and they didn't want to tear up the furniture. So this man had to come in. His job was to come in and clean up all that nasty stuff. And if you remember Cassie's testimony, she said it was, urine, man juice, menstrual fluid, baby oil, alcohol, DNA galore. Okay. Like, ew. And he had to come clean up this nasty mess and gather all these sheets, gather up all these bottles of baby oil. That was a challenge in and of itself because he keep 500 with him at all times. And gather up any little residue of, what they call it, that booger sugar. He had to clean all that up. Okay. He had to clean all that up. And then the maid from the hotel came and, made everything look decent. So they ended right there. He said he was the one who purchased all of these illegal substances for Diddy. Diddy would give him the money. He would meet a person, get a bag, get the bag, give the bag to Diddy. And in those bags were obviously a lot of illegal substances. So like I said before, if the defense cannot poke holes in any of this, it's a bad look. Now, listen, I'm not one to wish any ill on anybody. I hope that whatever happens is going to be based on what God says. Okay. Nobody is exempt from judgment. God gives everybody free will, and whatever's going to happen. Whatever Diddy's in, Diddy did. Okay. He is not innocent in this scenario. So it's going to be what it's going to be. So you're not going to hear me saying, I hope, I wish, because that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's between him and God. However, based on all of this testimony and the case just being an observer of seeing the prosecution and the defense, the prosecution is laying it down. From where I'm sitting, Diddy is cooked. I'm talking about like bacon in the skillet early in the morning with that extra sizzle, like that Diddy cooked. Okay. I don't see how his defense is going to get him out of this. And he got like 8 lawyers. How you got 8 lawyers and can't nobody come up with nothing? Like, y'all need to do something, like something. And they ain't doing nothing. A lot of times they don't even have no rebuttal. They don't have no questions. Even when they do cross-examine, it's real weak. And so I just don't see it. I don't see how this man is going to get out of this. Like I put up a video yesterday. I was like, shit, you need to go ahead and say, listen, can I do a plea deal? Because this is not going well. I don't see how any jury is going to let this man walk free. Even if they don't get him on traffic and RICO, I think, what are the actual charges? Okay, here we are. Oh, get back. Okay. Okay, boom. So these are the actual three charges. Racketeering conspiracy. This charge alleges that Combs engaged in illegal activities as part of a criminal enterprise using his business and associates for X trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Okay, so with this racketeering, he and all of these people are now associating with the X trafficking. So now this assistant is saying he helped supply some of these freak off materials as well as illegal drugs. So he is working for this criminal empire. So he is doing this under the duress of Diddy, because Diddy, as he stated, monthly threatens his employment. Now, if you got kids, a house, and everything else, you don't want to lose your job. So you do whatever's necessary so your employer can keep paying you. You turn a blind eye. You do this so that you can keep your job. That is why he was requesting immunity, because he knows that some of the things he was doing was illegal and he needed to protect himself. So that's where that RICO and that criminal enterprise is coming into play, from my opinion. Okay. And so in business, okay, by using his business and associates for X trafficking, okay, forced labor. Now that forced labor is where now this person said he was working 80 to 100 hours a week. The last assistant said he worked 20 hours a day. Now, if you know anything about the labor board, that is way too much. It's only 24 hours in a day. How you got me working 20 of them? That's crazy. And if he does not show that he paid them, accordingly, that's going to be a problem. So I think that's very important. You see, the prosecution is very particular about what they're asking these witnesses. They asked about what he supplied, what he was asked to do, and how many hours he worked. So that's where that forced labor is going to come into play. Kidnapping. The kidnapping comes from not allowing Cassie to leave. Okay. So now Cassie can say whatever she want to say. However, the tapes don't lie. So from that CNN video, when he took her bag, he took her purse, he took her phone and dragged her ass back to that room, baby, that's kidnapping. Okay. Because I'm trying to leave and you literally grabbed me by the back of my shirt and tried to drag my ass back, and you took all my belongings. That's kidnapping. Okay. Arson. Arson comes into play because Kid Cudi is testifying tomorrow. Yes, so they gonna ask, you already know, all they gonna ask Kid Cudi about is the blowing up of his vehicle. Now, if they got any text messages, any emails, anything stating that he was gonna get his car blown up, and I'm sure Kid Cudi has a police report stating that his car actually blowed up or was blown up, that's where the arson comes into place. Bribery, I'm sure that's going to come somewhere down the line. We'll pay you this if you do this. That's coming. Obstruction of justice. Telling people to not press charges. Like the last personal assistant that came on yesterday, that spoke yesterday morning, he stated that he got into an altercation with the chef, and Diddy told him to go make like a false police report, and the assistant never did it. That's obstruction of justice. Okay, and so that's all under this racketeering conspiracy. That's what he's being charged with. The second one, X trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. We already know because they got 2 counts. These charges relate to accusations that Combs used force, threats, and manipulation to compel individuals into commercial X acts, including transporting them across state lines for this purpose. So you already know he told Cassie, if you don't do XYZ, I'm going to release these tapes and I'm going to beat your ass. Okay. And so, excuse me for laughing. It is not a laughing matter. However, I just think this is crazy. Okay. So he already told her all of this. And so we've already lined that up. She already lined that up with her testimony, but we got 2 more victims who are going to testify that they did the exact same, that he did the same exact thing to them, forcing them into these freak offs. And of course, we already know they did it in multiple states. So he flew her all over the United States to perform this. And if she didn't do it, he would take her cell phone away, her car away, her passport, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and threatened her career the entire time. So she was forced into these X acts. So that's where the X trafficking comes into play. Force and coercion. And then the transportation to engage in prostitution, 2 counts. These charges stem from allegations that Combs knowingly transported individuals across state lines to engage in prostitution. And so That's what I did. A quick little Google, and that's what they told me. So even just toward the transportation, so that still looks like that's a federal charge. So even if they don't get him on racketeering and ex trafficking, they getting him on that transportation to engage in prostitution. They didn't already had two ex workers, and they said what is six more because it's a total of like eight ex workers who are going to testify against him. So that already they talk about how much they got paid. They talk about how many different cities they went to, how many times they performed these acts. That right there is that third charge. So yeah, and truth be told, like the defense, both ex-workers that were on the stand, the defense didn't really say nothing. The defense didn't have nothing for him. So he ain't getting out of that. He is not getting out of that. Yeah, he paid cash, but you know what I'm saying? They under oath. Eight people can't be on the oath lying that they perjure themselves. I highly doubt it. So, and they got records. They got hotel records. They're gonna have hotel footage. You know that that 2016 video where Diddy is assaulting Cassie in that hotel. Jules, the ex worker, was in there during that time. So all they got to do is see the video footage of any of these guys coming into the hotel on the date that they specify for the purpose that they specify at the same time that Diddy and Cassie are there, and that's a slam dunk. So the defense ain't really gonna be able to get out of that, especially if you got video evidence of them just checking into a particular hotel, and they not doing it for free. So that's what it is. So again, all these people who are online talking about some Diddy gonna walk, this is just domestic dispute. Clearly you didn't read the bylines. Clearly you didn't read the details in these accusations, because the prosecution is going through all of this bit by bit. They ain't playing no games. They only asking questions that are relevant to this case. They ain't sidelining on all this nonsense. The mama came out and she threw in there embezzlement, okay, with the $20,000 that Diddy demanded from her, and it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. But we all knew that it would be. We knew that it would. We knew that it would be. Okay. So every day I'm going to watch. Every day I'm going to come in here and read some of the transcripts and give you the updates for all of those who do not have time to be sitting there watching, because it is a slow crawl. Okay. Let me tell you, nothing's televised. So the transcribers are in there typing, and it's like updated every 20 minutes. It gets very long and arduous, but I do enjoy it, and I read it throughout the day, and I watch and get those extra tidbits, and I will continue to give you all the details. If you have not already, please do go ahead and subscribe and press that like button so that you can be notified anytime I load new content, because I am trying to grow my channel. And so if you have not already, please share with anybody who would love to hear all the details and the updates with regards to this Diddy trial. And I'm going to be back tomorrow with the testimony of Kid Cudi and anything else that I think y'all want to hear. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be crazy. And I'm going in. Okay. So until next time, this is the Community Legend. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and watch the next video by clicking right here.